Hello, I'm Edward Kroll. We are group number 8, and we did our project on Microsoft. So a little bit of history on them. Microsoft is actually an American multinational computer technology corporation that started on April 4th, 1975. They were founded by Bill Gates and Paul Allen. In 1980, they had a partnership with IBM, and they provided IBM with IBM PCs. Then as personal computers became more popular, they started selling more directly to consumers. They were the first software company to reach $1 billion in revenues. They released the Xbox in 2001, the Xbox Live in 2002, and then the Xbox 360 in 2005. They actually acquired Skype in 2011 for $8.5 billion. And then in 2011, they released the Office Business software suite, which includes like Word and Excel. And they're now the biggest and most valuable software company in the world. As far as leadership goes, their CEO is Satya Nadella. He's been with them since 1992. He has a bachelor's degree from Mangalore University, a master's degree from Wisconsin and the University of Chicago. He actually led the research and development for online services division and was the vice president of the Microsoft Business division. And then the president is Brad Smith, who joined Microsoft in 1993. He was actually a lawyer. He was a partner at a firm, Covington and Burling, before he actually got on with Microsoft. He attended Princeton and Columbia and studied international law and economics in Switzerland. He's very active in civic organizations. He's actually on the Netflix board of directors. So they all bring a lot of experience and leadership experience, along with a lot of education to the company. So the principal business model of the firm, it's actually pretty diversified. They make money in gaming with the Xbox, advertising with Bing, and then devices like LinkedIn. So they generate revenue by developing, licensing, and supporting a wide range of software products. They offer an array of services, including cloud-based services to consumers and businesses, designing, manufacturing, and selling devices that integrate with its cloud-based services, and delivering relevant online advertising to global audiences.
Talking about the short and long-term goals of Microsoft and how their strategy has changed over time and whether that's an intended strategy or an emergent strategy. So some short-term goals they have are production and sale of the new gaming system Xbox Series X. They like to win in the cloud space with Office 365 and Azure. They want to ensure that Windows PCs remain the primary productivity device. They like to gain a share in mobile. And finally, they'd like to gain share in the virtual meeting space with Microsoft Teams. Some long-term goals they've got are to gain shares in the rapidly expanding areas of mobile, smartphones, tablets, and then the cloud space. So there is some overlap with their short-term and their long-term goals. The resources required for all of these goals are going to be capital. That's so that they can put a lot of money into research and development. They can innovate new products. They can optimize products that they've already got out there to continue to grab shares in all the different areas that they're dipping their feet in. In terms of strategy, they have changed their strategy over time, and I think it's a combination of both intended and emergent. They began their life as device production and operating system production, and they had the intended strategy to move away from device production and just focus on the operating system. Well, over time, the emergence of smartphones and tablets reduced the demand for things such as personal computers. So they were faced with the unexpected challenge of having less demand for their operating system. So in order to adapt and stay relevant, they had the emergent strategy of getting back into device production with smartphones and tablets, and just to get their operating system on as many devices as possible now that they're not on personal computers as much. Another intended strategy would be getting into new markets such as cloud computing. It's relatively new and there's not a lot of competition there, so they had the intended strategy of getting into that marketplace.
Microsoft has recently updated their web browser engine to counteract its lost market share and consumers, and it seemed to have a positive impact on the company. Their goal is to provide the high-quality internet to all not just those who choose to use a Microsoft product. Now I'm going to talk about the five forces model of Microsoft. First, the threat of new entrants is quite high. There are lots of major companies are there in the industry like Apple or Google, and many other software businesses are entering the market with their new product. So for bargaining power of supplier, I would say the bargaining power of supplier is low to moderate because even though the Microsoft has an irreplaceable products and services, there are other major software companies in the industry, so the power of supplier is low. And bargaining power of buyers would be low as well. One example is Microsoft Office, because almost everyone in the world are using this product and hard to find a replacement for buyers. Therefore, the threat of substitutes is also low. However, Google is pretty much strategic and competitive by providing services like Google Doc, which made all works to be simplified and affordable. And lastly, competitive rivalry is also intense in the industry and also very dynamic as the major companies exist and many other software companies are entering the market by keep updating their products and services to stay on track.
To kind of start wrapping things up, I wanted to start with Microsoft's mission statement, which is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. I think that ties directly to what Microsoft is trying to do in terms of corporate strategy, in terms of moral responsibility, and really just their growth plans in general. When it comes to corporate strategy for Microsoft, right off of their website, it says the company's business strategy is currently focused on three elements: the cloud first growth, or the cloud first, mobile first method, the growth through mergers and acquisitions strategy, which is kind of the most basic and obvious one for a company as big as Microsoft, and the exploring business opportunities related to AR and VR, which is augmented reality and virtual reality. When it comes to Microsoft's like growth and expansion and stuff, they also are very focused on innovation. And again, right off of their website, Microsoft's innovation statement is: "We believe technology can and should be a force for good, and that meaningful innovation can and will contribute to a brighter world in big and small ways." Kind of just tying everything together, to what Microsoft is going for and what they're actually able to do. Microsoft is a big company, as everyone knows, and acquiring other companies, merging, growing, innovating, creating new products. That's something that they've been doing for a long time. But when it comes to actually, corporate responsibility and stuff along those lines, Microsoft is doing a lot better of a job than a lot of companies of kind of trying to spread education and actually help people better use their products. When it comes to their diversity and inclusion, they also have a statement that says: "We thrive on diverse voices. We engage our employees and customers' experiences, strengths, and different points of view to inform, challenge, and stretch our thinking. This is how we innovate." Kind of showing that Microsoft kind of practices what they preach. They're not just solely in one country. They have to worry about the world's market, not just a domestic market. They're always trying to change and be better, and not just focus on one group of people, because they don't want to exclude anyone at all. And I think that's huge for Microsoft, honestly, and I think that's why they continue to be so successful in today's world, and continuing to match their missions to their actual success. When it comes to Microsoft's actual performance, the best way to rate is this working? Is Microsoft doing or practicing what they preach? Microsoft just finished its best year in over a decade in 2019. At least when it comes to stock price performance, along with other performance indicators, meaning Microsoft is doing well, and Microsoft probably isn't going anywhere anytime soon. That being said, with the coronavirus going on currently and stuff, innovation, expansion, these types of things become harder, especially when people are hurting for money and not spending as much as they normally would in a growing market. And not just like I said before, it's not just a domestic issue, but a worldwide issue. So we'll keep an eye on that type of stuff. But Microsoft has been very successful because they continue to do and practice what they preach.
So a little bit of review on Nick's part. The mission statement for Microsoft is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. The corporate strategy is the company's business strategy is currently focused on 3 elements: cloud first, mobile first, growth through mergers and acquisitions, and exploring business opportunities related to augmented reality and virtual reality. And the short-term goals are production and sale of new system Xbox Series X, win in cloud with Office 365 and Azure, ensure Windows PCs remain the primary productivity devices, gain share in the mobile market, and Microsoft also wants to innovate in high-value activities such as value-added meetings. And for the long term, they want to gain share in the more rapidly expanding markets of smartphones, tablets, and cloud resources required, and also get into like more R&D, which will lead to innovation and new, fresh products. And building off of that, and from that review, if all 3 are consistent, is this a well-performing unit? Definitely. I have to say yes. The corporate strategy has to line up with the mission statement to ensure the goals are taken care of in an efficient manner. So definitely yes. This is a well-performing unit because everything lines up, and the name Microsoft even tells you this on how much the company is worth and where it has gotten itself today in the market. So definitely. If there is a conflict between the corporate strategy and the mission, does this lack of alignment contribute to performance problems? Why or why not? Of course it does, for sure. The corporate strategy and mission aren't just said to really be said. There are guidelines that are used from the bottom up, and that includes production. So definitely. You have to have everything aligned to make the company run smoothly, and I say Microsoft has done a really good job of that, depending on where they are today. I mean, they're one of the leaders in the market. And that is all on Microsoft. Thank you.